Welcome, and thank you for joining us here today. My name is Maria Stutzmani Marquez, and I serve as the Director of Graduate Admissions here at Mendoza College of Business at the University of Notre Dame. And it is a delight to be seated alongside Sharif, Nijim, and Seth Berry, who are the academic directors for the Master's of Science Business Analytics program that is here on the South Bend campus. So thank you so much for joining. It's really nice to be seated with you both. I know that people are very interested in your career evolution and what it was that inspired you to take on this leadership role. So we'll start with you.
Sure. So Maria, thanks for having us here. We're happy to be here. And really, I've always been focused on creating value for people, mostly in the context of building systems that perform very, very well. And then I got exposed to analytics, in an early age, 20, 30 years ago, where we built out a program to predict revenue for hotels. So what hotel prices should be charging for a room, because there's no less valuable piece of asset than a room that you're not selling. So we don't want people to leave margin on the table. So that got me very interested in how organizations can use data to make decisions to improve the way they operate. And that led me on a circuitous path to a full-time teaching position here in Mendoza. And there were still some strategic itches to scratch in terms of shaping the students that come through our program as they go out into the world. So here we sit.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, I will echo Sharif's gratitude for letting us be here with you today. So I have always been focused on research roles. I started my career here at Notre Dame as a survey methodologist. Had an opportunity to work on a lot of very big, fun, interesting projects. That role eventually transitioned to more data science related roles, which very much in a circuitous route led me to a full-time teaching gig. And just like Sharif had those strategic itches that need to be scratched, having the opportunity to work in this role together, to be able to influence the curriculum, to think about the things that we've seen out in the world, and to be able to share our passion with students, that's really what brought us together to lead this program.
Yeah, and you can see it. I mean, it's infused throughout the program. I mean, I have a small insight into how the class is shaped, but also like into the student experience too. And your students are incredibly happy and excited about the courses that they take. So let's dive into the actual curriculum. How is it inspired? How does it inform business analytics and perhaps the trends that are out there in the world today?
Sure. So if I think about analytics broadly speaking, business analytics is almost a misnomer because it's applicable regardless of industry, regardless if you're for-profit, non-for-profit. The ability to use data to better operate your organization is something that all organizations need to do. And what our program really does is prepare students not only to be successful in their first foray after they're here, but really prepares them to have a seat in a boardroom as a board member.
Wow, that's impressive because those skills are building throughout the program. Yeah, and what would you say about the curriculum or the faculty?
Absolutely. So in terms of our curriculum really is oriented towards that engagement at a high level, right? For all the way from your standard basic statistics that you would get anywhere, of course, to more modern machine learning methods. The technical skill is always there, and it's always important. But we recognize that the communication piece is just as important as the technical. Analytics isn't just numbers and data. It is being able to take that information and derive insight and then communicate that insight. So our curriculum is built to do that. It is really to form that whole analyst, because all organizations are analytics organizations, whether they know it or not. So we are equipping students to go out into any of those organizations and do that work. We want them to have a seat.
Yeah. So you're speaking to leadership, right? Communication style leadership, storytelling, but also understanding the principles and technology and techniques that are necessary to perform, from business analytics roles all the way up to C-suite. So how do you lean into leadership throughout this program?
Yeah, sure. So we start during orientation week, really, and even before during the application process, as folks develop their own kind of profile during the application process. But during orientation week, we start with this leadership launch program that is an introspective way for people to start to think about their own presence, their own leadership style, what they have a natural affinity towards, and areas where they could use some development, and then really follow that up over the course of the fall with a Friday workshop series that is almost like a drip reinforcement campaign, giving folks a little bit more over the course of the fall, and then culminates with the start of our capstone projects in the spring, where people have a better understanding of themselves, of their teams, and then are prepared to lead either technically or from a communication standpoint or from an organization standpoint.
And that capstone experience, it really starts on day one of capstone. Instead of spending time introducing the organizations to the students and to the teams, we want each team to have an opportunity to learn about themselves. Right, and Sharif discussed those attributes that all students are going to start to understand. That's going to give them the opportunity to communicate those attributes, to know who they are as leaders. Leadership is not a position. Everyone can lead. So how do they come together as a team of leaders to make this capstone experience as strong as possible? That entire first session is dedicated to teamwork and leadership. Not the work that's ahead of them in terms of the technical and all of that, but how do they function as a team to craft the best project that they possibly can.
This sounds really like intrapersonal, but also like the communication skills that you learn, and then combining that with the well-renowned faculty, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about the faculty that are teaching students throughout the course?
Sure. We have faculty who love to teach. I think that's the easiest way to summarize us as a whole. We are all passionate about what we do in the classroom and also what we do for our own work. We all have an intense love for the courses that we have because it's our content area. We love to do what we do. And not only that, but we all collectively just love to share our skills, our expertise, our passion with the students. I think that's true for every single one of us, and I think our faculty is. I'm proud of us as a whole.
Oh yeah, so it's a first-rate group of folks, and I think another distinguishing characteristic of the group is that the research that they do is coming straight into the classroom. So I'm doing a research project for the DoD, and the learning from that influences what I do in the classroom. And I think that's consistent across, the folks that we expose our students to.
Yeah, so this is experiential learning in the moment, practical, relevant, which is really important for this specific. And, at Mendoza, business analytics is a huge priority, I think, for the college itself. And so you're seated in some really wonderful roles to be able to deliver on that. So when we're thinking about students and who our students are, can you share kind of what students come through the program, maybe share some overviews of what the cohort looks like?
I would love to, because that's why we do what we do, right? I mean, we are here because of the students, and I know it's a generic thing to say, but we see everyone. We see students from every single discipline that you can imagine. If an English major without any coding skills, without any statistics background, comes in and does an amazing job. We have political science people, we have finance people, we've had people from the actuarial sciences. We have incoming students for this incoming cohort from the equestrian sciences world. So they come from everywhere. Some of them are coming right out of their undergraduate degree. Some are coming with work experience. We have a huge slice of people. It just makes it so much more fun when we have all this diversity within the classroom, not just the surface level diversity, but that deep level diversity that we know is so important. That's what we really strive for when we seat a class.
Yeah, and it really shapes the cohort because, you and I can agree that by filling a room with people with diverse backgrounds, different perspectives, everybody approaches problem solving in a different way, influenced by their upbringing, their training, their culture, like all of those things come to bear. And seeing that across the cohort, being deliberate about how we construct teams for the spring is something that gives us great joy.
Wonderful. I don't want to be remiss in not meeting like one topic that's really important to the program that really stands out that maybe we've not talked about before. So I know that we'll have a couple questions before we close, but is there anything that you'd like to highlight that we haven't today that you would like to share?
I mean, the one thing that I would want people to think about is, first of all, don't walk into this program with a full heart. Come in with the expectation that you're going to fall in love with a new discipline, a new way of thinking, new people. When you're here, be deliberate about seeking experiences that are not what you would do ordinarily, because that's going to help you grow just as much as the curriculum that you're exposed to.
And that exposure within the curriculum, I think, is a really important part that we don't talk about enough. Every single course that we have is designed with the idea in mind that you can get everything out of it that you put in. You have every opportunity in the world to come into a program like this, maybe without the same background as someone else, maybe without the same preparation as someone else. You have every opportunity to turn yourself into an analyst that anyone would want to hire. I think that is one of the things within our program that is unique and what makes us ultimately one of the strongest programs there could be, because we give our students the opportunity to stretch themselves, to not come in with a full heart, to grow as people.
And really, we talk a lot about folks being day two effective, right? They step into a new role when they're done here. The first day they get coffee and figure out where that is, and they get a computer, but really they have all the skills necessary, both the soft skills and the hard skills, to start driving change their second day of work. And that's something that we get really excited about.
That's impressive too. So what are some of the outcomes for students, when they graduate and then they're taking their first role? Where are students going?
Everywhere. So we have folks that are focused in the gaming industry. We have folks that are doing financial analysis works. We have folks working for SpaceX. I think our outcomes are indicative of the fact that analytics transcends industries, right? We truly do have people, professional sports, nonprofit, energy sector, across the spectrum of possibilities. That's where our people end up.
It is everywhere, right? Because as we were discussing earlier, every company does analytics, right? They all do. With that, though, we also have not a huge number of students, but a fair number who use our program as a launching point for further education. We have a number who have entered into PhD programs after coming into our program because they say, this is what we want. We want more. We want to continue on this track. We want to see how much we can push ourselves. This is our interest. So we expose people to all kinds of things that help them be where they want to be, whether it's all the industry that we've discussed or whether it's further education. We're giving people the opportunity to explore what they want to do.
Yeah, and just looping back to the curriculum comment from before, I think, again, that's one of the things that we're very proud of, is that folks going through the classes can take what they're learning and apply it immediately to their work.
Yeah, thank you. So in the last few minutes, and you've shared some wonderful moments about where you feel proud about the program and the curriculum, where are you most proud of your graduates?
The ones that give me the greatest joy are the ones that come in typically with the least preparation and really embrace the struggle while they're here. And there are tears, there are times when they feel lost and overwhelmed because what we do is hard, right? It's not an easy program. But to see them 10 months later, because I feel like the journey here is just the start of the story, right? Where it's really interesting to me is a year, 2 years, 5 years out, what are you doing now? And being able to map that back to your experience here, that's where I get little chills on my arm. Like that gets me super excited.
Yeah.
I share that. That's all I can say on that point. There are those students who want to do this work, and they will stop at nothing to get themselves there. They don't take shortcuts. The tears come, the pain comes, the look on their face the first couple weeks of class is something you don't forget as a professor. You know that look. But they get through it. And they get through it stronger than they did when they came in. Another group of students that I would like to comment on are the students who come in with a lot of background. Right? Maybe they have a computer science background, but they take every single opportunity while they're here to make themselves better. So not only are they coming in with the background, but they recognize the opportunity that is afforded to them in the classroom. Everything they touch, they work into new projects. Everything they touch, they use to make themselves better. So we see that these two groups of students, the common theme is they're using this opportunity to make themselves better. And those are the students that I can name all those students off the top of my head, and it's amazing to see them.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your absolute passion and joy and love for the work that you do. I know that it transcends. And so, for our audience who is considering a program like this, what is the one piece of advice that you would offer?
Be curious. Be curious and be deliberate about maximizing the opportunity that's in front of you, because it's very easy to let it just slide by and do what's required to make it. You're shortchanging yourself. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That idea of shortchanging yourself is the scariest thing in the world to me. The number of students who I've taught outside of our analytics concentrates, our analytics majors, our analytics graduate students, the number of students who have started a statistics class by saying, I'm not good at this. Come to find out, they actually can be good at it. So if you're prepared to struggle because you know that this is what you want to do, or you know this is the right thing to do, that recognition that anything worth doing is going to be hard to do, I think that's the best advice I can give to anybody. Don't be afraid to struggle. You grow by struggling. Don't be afraid of it.
Embrace the hardness, because you don't tell stories about things that are easy.
True. You're both speaking so much of resilience and persistence and a growth mindset. And it's so wonderful to have leaders here on campus who are continuing to push that edge and to also be supportive in that, right? So I'm hearing the balance of both. Thank you so much for taking the time to, share your voice here about the program and your love for the students and the work that you're doing. So thank you so much. If you'd like to learn more about the business analytics program, please check out some of our events, reach out to our admissions professionals. We're standing by to work with you. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.